Hello and welcome everyone to Pure Plant Exclusive. To those of you who have watched my other two videos, welcome back. And to anyone who's new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you've joined me today and you're watching. And I'm excited to share some of the ways that I got into the plant exclusive lifestyle and way of eating, and answer a few kind of common questions. And let's go, let's do it. So, first off, I will say before anything else, I had to change my mindset. And I think that's a big thing for people sometimes when they're making such a big change is getting into the mindset of, okay, I really want to do this thing. I really desire to do it because I want to, lose weight, or I want to feel better. I want to improve my health. I want to get out of prediabetes or whatever it is. And that's a great start. Like, that's a really good motivation. For me, it was health at first. Definitely, absolutely 100% health. I was not feeling well. I had a little bit of a health scare and I knew something had to change. So I did decide on the plant-based way of eating as the answer for me. I had tried various other ways to lose weight and get my health back and things like that, but none of them worked long term. I kept going back to eating the same old foods again, eating unhealthy foods, potato chips and junk food and things like that. So I really wanted something that I could do that wouldn't require me to be overly strict, because I love food and I love to eat. And I don't like to have restrictions on myself. I think that having restrictions on what I eat leads me back to wanting to go back to the old ways of eating and eating the food. I'm restricting and I'm doing all these things and I'm not feeling any better. I'm not necessarily losing very much weight. Plus, I'm hungry all the time, right? So it kind of just sets you up for failure when you do things like that. So for me, I wanted to be successful in this. As I stated before, I had previously kind of dabbled in it, but didn't make it like a serious commitment to change. So this time I really wanted to commit to it. So what I did was I immersed myself in watching videos like you're doing now of people who had done it previously, and I read books. I had previously read Dr. Joel Fuhrman's Eat for Life, and that was a really good basis for me because it explains so much of the science behind why plant-based diets are superior to those that include animal products and dairy and things like that, and how it affects the body. I'm very interested in those things, like the physiology of how certain foods and certain nutrients and micronutrients impact our health and our body, and how it all works together. For me, like, that's kind of what I needed to know and to be able to get it into my head that yes, this is the healthier way to go. We've been so conditioned to believe all our lives that, most of us, I should say, maybe perhaps not all of us, but so many of us have been so conditioned to believe that animal products are healthy. We need them for protein, we need them for calcium, we need them, and we don't. We don't. We've just been told that because that's what the government industries, the meat and dairy industries have been trying to sell us to get us to purchase their products for a very long time, for decades. So anyway, first off is changing your mindset. It's looking at this as something that is possible for you to do, achievable, and Even if it's just for 3 weeks, just 21 days to start with. Start there. Say, you know what, I can do anything for 3 weeks, and try starting there. See what kinds of changes it makes in your life, how you feel, and things like that, and go from there. So first I had to start with that, and my education was a lot of watching a lot of little videos on nutritionfacts.org. With Dr. Michael Greger, I watched so many of his videos and took in a lot of knowledge from those videos, which he puts all the effort into, all of the studies that go into all of the things that back the plant-based lifestyle to support it. And excuse me, I also watched a lot of videos by the sorry, just let me think of the name of it here. It's the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine with Dr. Neil Barnard, and the Exam Room. So I would watch and listen to a lot of the podcasts, the Exam Room Live, and of course they're pre-recorded and they're on YouTube for people to watch and gather information from and learn lots of information from. And a lot of people on there interviewed, that they've experienced weight loss, reversing diseases and things like that as well with plant-based nutrition. So I did a lot of that. I did a lot of looking into and hearing different people's experiences with plant-based nutrition, because I really wanted to have that set in my mind that, despite having some difficulties, you're going to have difficulties when you make such a huge change. You'll have these points in your mind to remind you of why you're doing it and how you can be successful with it. So that's where it starts for sure. Mindset has to change. And it was a really challenging thing for me in the beginning too, to go from thinking, animal products are the superior thing to now vegetables and grains and beans, legumes, things like that are the superior thing. So it did take some time. It took some time to learn and to change my thought patterns with regard to things like that. Also changing some of the things in my environment helped, of course. I would get rid of anything that had meat or dairy in it that was very, heavy in animal products. And some things I probably didn't get rid of right away. Of course, I've mentioned before, like salads, they come in the bag salads with the dressing already prepackaged in the bag with those. They had some milk products, I think, and some egg products in them as well, which I didn't look very closely at in the beginning. And I did ease in with some of the prepackaged meat alternative, plant-based alternative products like, sausages and Impossible burgers and things like that. So yeah, I did start there when I first eased in. I don't recommend that. I think if you can avoid that, that's wonderful. But if you can't and you feel like you need that, because for me, I don't do recipes a whole lot. So I wasn't looking at plant-based recipes, and I wasn't making my burgers from scratch, which now I have started to experiment with that a little bit and things like that. So it kind of helped transition into a more just solely whole plant food lifestyle. So that's where I recommend people start. Kind of clean out your space, your environment a little bit. Get rid of the things that are so tempting you can't have them in the fridge or in the cupboard or wherever without gravitating toward them, because there are those things. I did have those things in my life too. And even still, my husband keeps popcorn in the cupboard, and I don't eat it, but once in a while I'll have a little handful or something. But I used to make that pretty frequently, but now just because of the chemicals and the oils and things like that in them, I don't eat them anymore. So anyway, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If, you know, it doesn't contain animal products and it's, you know, it's something that you enjoy, do whatever you need to do to get yourself into kind of, I feel like, a better way of doing a plant-based lifestyle. Some people need that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I say do whatever you have to do to kind of get there. All right, and the next point that I wanted to discuss is I get a lot of questions about what I eat in a day. So I don't really base my day, my meals around my day from day to day. I'm more of a kind of just eat what I feel like person, and I've always been that way. And I think that too is part of the reason why I would have those products in the house, because they were easy. They were very easy. So if I worked all day long and I was tired, I was exhausted, and didn't really want to put a lot of time and effort into cooking and stuff like that, I just throw on a couple burgers or vegan sausages or, you know, whatever, and a salad, and we'd be good to go. So, and I still do that from time to time. I will admit that I still do the salads once in a while. Not the salads, I make sure it's salad that has no animal products in the dressing, or I make my own and I'll just put plant-based dressing on it, or something that I kind of make and put on it myself. But I'm not a big breakfast person either. I don't usually eat until probably usually around 11:30, sometimes lunchtime, sometimes a little after lunch. It just depends on the day, how I feel, and when I get hungry is when I eat. So I'm not overly picky about what I eat for breakfast per se, or what I eat in the morning. If I'm hungry in the morning, I'll just kind of eat whatever I'm in the mood for, and whatever's there, like easy. Now, I say easy, but some people would think that, you know, making oats or oat groats is not easy, and I agree. It's easy, but it takes time. So what I often do is I'll pre-cook a lot of oat groats, and I will put them in containers, or I'll just leave them in the pot and put the pot in the fridge. And then I will scoop out whatever I want. If I am hungry in the morning, I'll scoop out some oat groats into a little dish, and I'll put some berries, strawberries or blueberries or whatever I have in the freezer on top of them, put them in the microwave for a few seconds, and I'll have that. And I also did purchase before the plant-based egg replacement. They come in a package of 4 and they're frozen. I think they're called Just Eggs, and they're a plant-based egg thing. And I would put that in like a multigrain bun and heat them up, of course, and put them in a multigrain bun. I could, if I wanted to toast it, I could, although I don't really toast things usually. So, but anyway, those kinds of things, just like sort of quicker on the go kinds of things. And I'm not opposed to eating curries or whatever I had the night before for supper, for lunches, or breakfast even. I know some people think you can only eat certain things for breakfast, and we're accustomed to thinking like we can't eat vegetables for breakfast, and that's just obviously not the case. I mean, we can eat whatever we want to for breakfast, right? So if there's something there and I'm hungry at, you know, whatever time, 9 a.m. or something, and I want to have some breakfast, and there's curry left over in the fridge from the night before, I'll eat it, you know. So I don't really structure my meals a whole lot. And I know a lot of people with kids, maybe they need to do that. So that's something, you know, you have to kind of give it a little more thought, like what you're going to put into making meals for children for lunch and things like that. But what I do is I will make things that I have in the kitchen. And my next video, I'm going to show you things I keep in the kitchen, and we'll go through and talk about some of the things that I'll put together. I'll just pick something out, and I'll pick like a protein for it, like tofu or tempeh, and I will add to that some, whatever grain I want to add, like brown rice or quinoa or whatever the case may be, and I'll just kind of keep adding to it. And a lot of times what I'll do with things like that as well is I'll mix in a lot of other vegetables. I'll chop up celery, I'll chop up zucchini, onions, garlic, and just other various, whatever I have in my fridge, shallots, and I typically do use a lot of mushrooms in my cooking as well when I cook up a bunch of veggies and things, and then I'll put in some coconut aminos and I'll add some spices to it. However, I feel like spicing it that day, and usually some chilies. We like chilies in our veggies and our stir fries and curries and things like that. And then usually when I make something like that with mostly veggies and things, we'll put them in like a whole wheat tortilla wrap, and we'll each have a wrap, and then we'll just eat the rest of all the vegetables like they are. If there's any left over, we'll put them in the fridge. We'll have them for lunch the next day. But yeah, I do try to just include a lot of variety of vegetables and grains and also beans and legumes in those kinds of foods that I make. Made a curry last night. I used tofu, Brussels sprouts. I used one of those bags of mixed vegetables for stir fry. I also used a can of chickpeas and what else? Onions. I always use a ton of onions in my curries. And I think I mentioned Brussels sprouts, yeah, and chopped up zucchini. So, and it was amazing. It was a green curry. It was really delicious. I just use light coconut milk in my curries, and I'll add water in if I need to add more liquid in. And it was really good, and there was leftovers, so I had that for lunch today, or well, technically breakfast today, because it was around lunchtime that I had it. So yeah, that's kind of how I do my meals. And when I'm like later this afternoon, I'll probably go and make a big salad of spinach, and I'll add in some shallots and maybe a few mushrooms and onions and radishes and cucumber, tomato, and I'll just mix it all up. And sometimes I'll make like a little dressing that has, like, I'll put in blueberries, a little bit of water, maybe a teaspoon of mayo, and I'll put that in there just to give it a little bit of a creamier texture. And I'll put in a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, and I'll just mix it up in the Magic Bullet and pour it over my salad, and that'll be my salad. And I'll also put whole hemp seeds, some flax seeds, and some nutritional yeast on there as well. People ask me if I eat bread. I do eat bread. Typically I eat like multigrain or the whole grain rounds. I'll eat those sometimes. We'll have them with a veggie burger, and we eat those wraps, as I said. I've never been really all that big on like sandwiches and breads, but if I did choose to have a sandwich or breads for sandwiches, I would use the whole wheat or whole grain bread and go with that, because it's the healthier option. But there's nothing wrong with breads, and I mean, as long as you're not getting too carried away with them, and you're not always eating, the breads with the very highly processed white flour that's stripped of all of its fiber and everything. Those are not really the best for you as far as health and nutrition are concerned, at least. So I do try to stay away from them. I do eat whole grain or whole wheat pastas as well. And the thing is, now that I've lost all of the weight that I really needed to, I don't have to worry so much about exactly what I'm eating, but I don't add any oils into my food at all. There's no added oil. I don't even think I might have a bottle of extra virgin olive oil in the cupboard, but if I do, I don't even know because I don't use it. So when you're trying to lose weight, especially, you want to keep the oils to the barest minimum or cut them out. Just cut them out. They're so unnecessary. You can use other things to keep your food from sticking. You can bake on parchment paper. You can use water in your pans. I always use water, or I use like a veggie broth in my pan when I'm cooking sometimes. We eat a lot of potatoes, we do. So that's another mention that I wanted to make because, I've mentioned it before that, people think that potatoes are so bad for you, they're so high in carbohydrates and things like that, that they're not good for you. And that's just absolutely not the truth. Those carbohydrates are things that our body needs, it craves, it desires for functioning. And when we eat those kinds of foods that contain carbohydrates, as opposed to maybe the white breads or, the really bad carbohydrates that we're used to consuming, like cakes and muffins and things like that, if we're taking them in from our plant-based foods and sources like potatoes and whole grains and brown rice and things like that, we are going to feel better. We're going to feel satiated. We're going to feel energy from those types of foods because that's what we're meant to live on. That's what our ancestors, long before all of the processed foods and highly refined foods came into existence and took over our diets, we were living on these foods that were whole grains and potatoes and things like that just came from nature and were very, minimally processed and processed by hand too. So a lot of work had to go into anything that was made into breads and pastas and things like that. So just something to kind of give thought to anyway, and think about for when you're thinking of what to eat and what to prepare. You want to keep it as close to its natural state as possible. That's all. And don't stress yourself out over where you're going to get this vitamin or that protein or things like that. It is a huge question. It's addressed in so many of the videos that by actual plant-based doctors that use plant-based nutrition in their medicine and things like that. That protein sources from vegetables and grains and natural sources are very superior to animal sources of protein. So the foods that you would consume to kind of get enough vitamins and proteins, broccoli is very high in protein. Brussels sprouts, spinach, corn, beans, legumes such as chickpeas, soybeans, edamame, lentils, peas, black beans, kidney beans, quinoa. Oats is another one, and that people don't think about. If you find someone asking like, what kind of high protein breakfast can I have? Oats, or have oat groats. They're the whole form of oats, so they're not broken down at all. They're as close to the natural grain as you can get. So that's why I choose oat groats. Nuts and seeds like hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, almonds, and sunflower seeds. I do like to have, I don't always have them on hand, but that's another thing I'll put in my salads. I'll usually have sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds on hand, and I'll put some of those, either one or the other, or maybe a little of both on my salads. And they're really good for sources of protein, as is like the spinach. Even people don't think of spinach as being a good source of protein, but it really is. And broccoli and broccoli and Brussels sprouts are really high on the list as well. So if you are eating the correct foods, you're eating enough of them in enough volume, you are going to get all of the protein and nutritional requirements pretty much that you need. And anything that you are worried about, if you think you might be lacking in, there's so many resources online where you can look at, especially Dr. Greger's nutritionfacts.org videos regarding, you know, fiber and iron and iodine and all of the different various nutrients and things that you may worry about that you don't maybe get enough of, B12, things like that, omega-3s. And just be cautious, do a lot of research. That's why I'm also taking a plant-based nutrition course, because I really want to accurately make good, wise decisions based on the science and based on the knowledge that's put out by the real experts on nutrition, and that's backed by study after study after study, and big studies, not like the China study, not just, you know, these little random studies that are funded by the dairy organization or the agriculture associations and things like that, right? So just there's so much of a wealth of information online right now. You can basically Google anything plant-based and you can find what you're looking for. Like if you're going to an event, or like, you know, I just went to my family reunion, you can Google something like plant-based, you know, burgers, or plant-based if you want to bring a certain type of salad, but you want to make sure that you don't put anything animal product like in it, so you can have some as well. Just Google plant-based, anything, whatever it is you want, plant-based pasta salads and things like that. So that's what we did. We had a plant-based pasta salad that we brought, and it was pretty popular. Most people, I think, ate it because I brought 2 large, those aluminum foil pans, and one was empty, and the next one was somebody had started taking from the next one when we left. So that was great. And again, it's one of those things, like if you're looking to improve your health, it's going to benefit you. If you're looking to lose weight, you cannot not lose weight on a plant-based diet. There is no way, unless you're already at your ideal weight and your body will stay at that ideal weight, which is the case after you've lost whatever amount of weight you need to. And you will maintain a healthy weight on a plant-based diet as well. I think a lot of people think that you can't maintain a healthy weight. That's not true. If you're eating enough of the right foods, again, enough of those foods that contain carbohydrates, the foods that contain fiber and proteins and all the nutrients that you need, you're not going to lose too much weight on a plant-based diet. So there's a lot of myths out there surrounding plant-based diets and everything, and just do your research is the only thing I can say, like I did. Put your searches out there, feel out, you know, and find what works best for you and go with that to start. So yeah, so that's a little bit about how I kind of got started and what I recommend for people starting out. So just ease in if you need to, you know, just make it a decision to start 3 weeks. I can do anything for 3 weeks and give it a go, and you know, just try to get, you know, anyone in your family on board with you as well. Just kind of mention to them maybe that, you know, you're looking to work on this as far as health goes, and you want to do a little experimentation, you know, to see if it helps whatever it is. You lower your blood sugar, or you know, start losing a little bit of weight. You know, some people in 3 weeks, they could lose, you know, 5 pounds. It's different for everyone, of course, but but just find one or two little things that you can say, okay, I really want to try this for this reason, and then just ease your way into it. Try to go for 3 weeks, just nothing but plant-based foods. Even if you need to add in some of those sort of not so perfect replacement foods, like I did, as I said before, the vegan meat alternative foods and things like that. Just keep in mind that they are sometimes higher in calorie density and things like that. So, and oils, watch your oil intake, and just try 3 weeks. That's all you need to do to start with. And again, don't worry about vitamins and proteins. Are we really getting all the vitamins and proteins that we need from that pizza that we're eating, or from that cheeseburger, or from that steak? Absolutely not. So just worry about getting started in the beginning so that you can, get a taste for how the food tastes, what you like, what you don't like, and kind of go from there. And in our next video, I'm going to be discussing what I keep in the kitchen. I'll show you around the cupboards in the kitchen and my fridge and freezer and what I keep on hand, and as far as fruits and vegetables and things like that, which, by the way, I do eat a lot of fruit, which I didn't really mention in the video, but yeah, we do keep a lot of fruit on hand. Apples, bananas, cherries, whatever's in season right now, mangoes, and we also keep a lot of frozen fruit in the fridge or freezer, like blueberries, strawberries, things like that. But anyway, again, I'll go through more of those things with you as well, and talk about like when we feel like snacking, or eating in the evening and things like that, and lots of other fun and interesting little things I have to share with you, to kind of help you, encourage you to give this a try, to see and figure out if it works for you. And if you give it a really good go, I do believe that it's possible for anyone to do it, to stay on it. In fact, now for me, it's easy. I don't even really think about it anymore. It's just how I do. It's just what I eat. And when I go somewhere, I go to my sister's house for the weekend, or I go away with my husband and we go to an Airbnb for a weekend or something like that, I just plan ahead, and I'll cook up some quinoa, we'll bring some baked potatoes, we'll bring some foods in a grocery bag. Last time we went away to a little B&B for a night, we took our small air fryer with us. We cooked potatoes in the air fryer, and also brought along some that were already pre-cooked here at home, and we just plan, we just plan our meals and things when we're away like that. Of course, grocery stores are everywhere you go, so you just, sometimes you'll have to pop into a grocery store and get some fresh produce, or we'll get, a big container of salad or something, and just have whatever we feel like eating. So it does get very easy, I assure you of that. It almost becomes really second nature. And if you make it important to you, just like anything else, if it's important enough to you, you'll find ways to make it work, and you'll find ways to get all of the things that you need and want in your diet so that you can thrive and really be successful. So on that note, I thank you all for joining me and watching today, and I look forward to talking to you in my next installment, episode 3 of Pure Plant Exclusive. If you've taken anything away that you feel is beneficial from this video, please like the video and subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified when a new video comes out. And again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Take care and stay healthy. Bye.